What's up, what's up? This build is going to be a Moebius Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's 1/12 scale. This is a repop from the Aurora kits, the old Aurora kits. They did a lot of monster kits. And this is also for a model group that I'm a member of on Google, Sci-Fi Model Action. Armando started a Halloween build to get done before Halloween. So this is the kit I'm doing. So let's get it. Well, these are all the pieces to the kit. It has a base, which I'm not going to use. I'm going to make my own base. It has some of the little stuff like anchor and some, looks like some seaweed and stuff, and a clapboard. Not going to use any of that either. Has a little fish. I may use a little fish, I don't know. But you got the head, the middle gill, you got your arms, and then you got your body, and that's the kit. So I'm going to trim these up, clean them up, and get ready to start putting all this together. I've glued the two arm halves together and then glued in the little middle fin on his head here. I've gone through and scraped with my X-Acto along the seam, and then I took my ambroid and put a coat over it. It's the shiny part to help kind of melt the plastic down a little bit, and cleaned all the flash. There wasn't too much flash on this. It was actually not too bad on the arms. Now I need to work on the face. I believe I'm going to drill out this mouth because I just don't really care for the way it looks. And the way this head fits on is there's two pegs on either side of this post, and there's two slots, so it actually slips on and turns around. But that is no neck, and it looks weird with no neck. So I think what I'm going to do is see if I can just glue it like this and then get some epoxy sculpt and sculpt a neck on here, just so it looks a little more proportioned and anatomically correct. I drilled out the mouth, which makes it look a whole lot better. And I just started with a drill bit in my pin vise and drilled in the middle, and then took my X-Acto and kept whittling out a lot of the sections till I got to where I wanted, and then scraped it with my X-Acto and ran some ambroid over it to smooth everything out. So it came out pretty much the way I wanted it to, and it looks a whole lot better than what they had there before. I did drill the pupils out on the eyes. I'm not sure if I'm going to just go ahead and drill the entire eye out and then create some eyeballs and put in there. I haven't decided yet. But so far it's working the way I need it to. The fit of the two pieces is horrible, so I'm going to have to do a lot of putty work in here to fill everything in before I can attach it to the main body. I've got the body put together. What I did is I went around with my snippers and got rid of about half of that lip, so it enables me to put the arms on and off, but there's also enough on there to where their arm will stay in place for when I need to glue it. But I want to leave the arms off so that when I get the head ready, I'll be able to move around and sculpt around the head a whole lot easier with the arms off of it. I'm doing some some seam work. You can see that here in red. And for this, I'm not using putty. What I'm using is some A and B epoxy sculpt. This comes in all kinds of colors and all kinds of sizes, and this is the red, as you can see. And sometimes it's good to use a contrasting color so you can see where you're at. I also did some here around where the gills are because the fit was just really bad. And you get about 3 hours of work time with this. It's also water soluble, but if you're going to smooth it out and everything, you want to use a solvent, and this is the Aves solvent. So what I do is I'll get a little bit on the end of my tool here, and then I'll force it down in the crack and everything and kind of tease it around and get it kind of the way I want. Then I'll just take a regular paintbrush and I'll dip it in that solvent, and then I'll just start brushing it with the solvent. And by doing that, it smooths everything out. You don't want to use the water again. Like I said, you don't want to use the water because it'll break down the epoxy, and then when it dries, it's just going to crumble away. So using the solvent, it'll still stay strong, and once it cures, it'll be rock hard. So I'm going to continue working on all these seams, and then we'll be back after that. And I've got the head glued on, and I did a little test fit with the arms here to see, you know, kind of what it's going to look like. And I'll glue those in once the head and everything's done and dry. Let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see how far the head's sticking up, but it does look a little more proportionately correct. So now I'm going to take the Aves epoxy sculpt, and I'm going to sculpt the neck. And I can't really do that on camera because I got to get right in on it to see it. So when I get done, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. I finished sculpting the neck with the epoxy sculpt. Now I need to let it dry overnight. It'll be rock hard once it dries. Then I can attach the arms and do the same process with the epoxy sculpt on the arms. And then it'll be ready for some primer and some paint. For the base, I have a 3.5 by 3.5 by 3.5 wood cube. It is hollow. I got this off of Amazon. Everything I got for the base is off of Amazon. I also have a piece of 1/4 inch Pyrex, which is a plastic. That'll go on top like this. There'll be some sand on it too from model railroad sand. I have a piece of driftwood that I cut to fit on here. Also cut a piece of brass tube to fit inside, so the hole in the foot will fit on. And it'll look kind of like that. I also have some aquarium stuff to use for the seaweed and everything. But that's going to do it for part one. Part two is going to be finishing the base and of course painting the creature. And then after that will be the finale. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you guys for part two.